My name is Waverly Palmer, and I just turned 32. Last week, during my sister's lavish $200,000 wedding held at a stunning $15 million property in Greenwich, Connecticut, someone handed me a gray badge labeled Limited Access Guest. At that moment, my mother leaned close and murmured, "That means you don't get a seat for dinner, Waverly." For 3 full years, I had scraped together $10,000 for the gift envelope, 3 years without any trips, eating simple meals at home, and keeping the same office outfits until the fabric literally started coming apart. All I wanted was to present my sister with the biggest contribution I could manage. All I wanted was to show everyone I truly belonged in this family. What I received instead was a cheap piece of plastic that screamed I wasn't wanted at the actual celebration. I walked straight over to the gift table, picked up my envelope, and spoke 5 simple words that drained the color from my mother's face. Before I reveal what came next, if this tale is hitting home for you, please hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment below, tell me your location and the current time where you are. To explain why I reacted the way I did, let me take you back about 6 months earlier. On the surface, the Palmer household appears flawless. My dad, Gerald, retired after 35 years as a mechanical engineer at one firm. My mom, Patricia, used to be a bank teller until she chose full-time homemaking, especially after my sister began collecting academic honors. Then there's Miranda, 3 years my senior, Harvard MBA graduate, high-flying investment banker in a top Manhattan firm, the golden child who made every holiday card photo-worthy. And then there's me, a regular accountant at a modest logistics firm based in Queens. I rent a tiny studio for $1,800 monthly with nothing but a brick wall outside my window. I started at community college and later switched to a state school because my parents claimed they couldn't cover tuition for both girls at elite institutions. Strangely, they somehow managed the funds for Miranda's down payment on her Upper East Side apartment just a few years afterward. From childhood onward, I came to judge affection by living space. Miranda's room was double the size of mine. Hers featured custom closet organizers. Mine had 1 metal bar and 3 cheap plastic hangers. For her high school graduation, my parents hosted a big catered event with a professional DJ. For mine, Mom promised something low-key, and then completely overlooked it. The memory that hurts the most is the picture displayed on our living room shelf. A 2015 family photo shows my parents and Miranda posed happily in front of a decorated tree, beaming as though life couldn't get better. I'm completely absent. Mom explained the frame couldn't accommodate everyone, so they simply trimmed me out. For years I convinced myself it carried no deeper meaning. I was mistaken. The moment I fully grasped my position in the family came when I was 18. It was June 2009, my high school commencement. I'd worked hard for 4 years, straight honor roll, library volunteering, and a weekend job at a yogurt place just to purchase my own prom gown. I didn't earn top student honors, but I felt genuine pride in my efforts. The event began at 2 p.m. At 2:47 p.m., I crossed the platform, accepted my diploma with a handshake from the principal. I posed for pictures even knowing no family member was snapping them. My parents were absent. They had traveled 300 miles to escort Miranda on a Columbia University campus visit. She was already a college junior considering grad programs. Mom insisted, "Miranda's timeline is critical, you'll have more ceremonies ahead." I never got another one. The sole attendee cheering for me that day was Aunt Diane, Mom's younger sibling. She drove 2 hours from her Hartford florist business to sit in row 3 and applaud loudly when they announced my name. Later, she treated me to a cozy Italian meal and slipped me a card holding a $100 bill. "Your mom pulled something similar on me long ago," she said softly while slicing her chicken parmesan. "When I announced my engagement, she was too occupied rearranging Grandma's porcelain collection to even glance at my ring." I stayed silent. Aunt Diane took my hand across the table. "You're not losing out, Waverly. They simply haven't learned to notice you properly yet." Yet here I am, 15 years later, still waiting for that recognition, and I'm beginning to doubt it will ever arrive. 6 months prior to the wedding, a notification popped up in our family chat group, one I was included in but seldom addressed. Miranda posted a picture of her ring finger displaying a sparkling 3-carat cushioned diamond set against what appeared to be a Manhattan rooftop dining spot. Her caption: "Jonathan just proposed. Planning mode activated. Jonathan Whitmore 3. I had encountered him merely twice. Once during a family meal where he droned on about golf scores the whole time, and again at her birthday gathering where he barely glanced my direction. His lineage screamed inherited wealth from Greenwich, Connecticut. His dad, a former hedge fund executive now retired. His mom served on 3 nonprofit boards, the type who, summer, in places most people only dream about." Mom replied instantly, "My darling girl! This is the greatest moment of my existence." Dad added a thumbs-up icon. I drafted and erased several replies before sending. "Congrats, Miranda. Truly thrilled for you." Silence followed. 14 days later, the formal invite landed. Heavy cotton stock, probably 600 grams at minimum. Gold embossed script with a personalized monogram blending M and J. An enclosed card noted the ceremony would take place at the Whitmore estate, plus discounted lodging at a local hotel for $450 nightly. Holding that thick cardstock, I resolved things would change this time. I would offer Miranda my largest possible contribution. I would demonstrate to my parents that my worth matched my sister's. The very next morning I opened a dedicated savings account labeled Wedding Contribution. Unbeknownst to me, Mom already had her own agenda. Accumulating $10,000 consumed 3 entire years. To outsiders it might seem modest, but earning $52,000 annually pre-tax while residing in New York City makes each cent precious. I quit eating lunch out. I brewed coffee at home rather than purchasing it. No holidays whatsoever, not even a short, inexpensive getaway. As my coat wore thin in winter, I mended the inner lining by hand rather than replacing it. My goal was to present my sister with a gesture that carried weight, one that would erase the label of family letdown they had pinned on me. 3 weeks prior to the big day, I visited my bank branch and obtained a $10,000 cashier's check. The friendly teller inquired whether I'd like it placed in an envelope. I agreed. Back in my cramped studio, I composed a personal note for my sister. "Dear Miranda, warmest congratulations on your marriage. Though we've never been extremely tight, I truly hope this contribution supports you and Jonathan in creating a wonderful future. All my best wishes for endless joy. With love, Waverly." I tucked the check along with the note inside, sealed the envelope, and inscribed both names across the front. Then I photographed the entire package, the outer envelope, the check, the handwritten message, and stored the images in a private phone folder. I'm unsure exactly why I captured those shots. Perhaps subconsciously I sensed trouble ahead. Later that evening Mom phoned. Her tone sounded overly cheerful and forced, the same one she used whenever she needed a favor. "Waverly, have you picked out your present already? I thought maybe you could transfer the cash to me, and I'll add it to our family card." I hesitated. "I'd prefer to hand it over personally, Mom, during the event." A long pause. "Whatever suits you, then." She ended the call abruptly, no farewell. All the warning signals were flashing. I simply refused to acknowledge them. 2 months earlier, Miranda threw her bridal shower at the plaza. I wasn't asked to assist with organizing. That privilege went to her 4 business school friends plus 2 cousins on Mom's side, cousins I'd encountered perhaps 3 times total. Cousins from comfortable backgrounds. I ended up at an out-of-the-way table surrounded by strangers. Acquaintances of acquaintances. The sort of attendees added to fill empty chairs. Midway through the champagne speeches, Mom rose to praise Miranda's achievements. Harvard degree, impressive job, exceptional fiancé. She spoke at length, 7 full minutes. My name never crossed her lips. Not even a brief nod of appreciation for my presence. The incident burned deepest occurred inside the restroom. I'd slipped away to touch up my face. Tears had escaped quietly, unnoticed by others, when I overheard low voices from a nearby stall. Mom and Aunt Harriet, murmuring, Thank goodness you kept her out of the bridal party, Aunt Harriet remarked. Picture the scene, the Whitmores inquiring about her job, and then what? Mom let out a delicate, breezy chuckle. Exactly. Miranda got it right away. Jonathan's mom cares deeply about image. We simply cannot risk anything off-putting. I froze before the mirror. My own image gazed back, eyeliner streaked beneath one eye. Off-putting. That was my role in their eyes. Not a sibling. Not a child. Merely an element that could jeopardize their entry into the prestigious Whitmore circle. I ought to have walked out immediately. Instead, I stayed. I convinced myself the situation would improve. I convinced myself the actual wedding would mark a turning point. 7 days before the ceremony, an email arrived from the planner. Subject: Final rehearsal dinner guest list. I reviewed the 40 entries. Bridesmaids, groomsmen, both parents' sides, aunts and uncles, Whitmore relatives, plus several of Miranda's college buddies, who arrived early. My name was missing. I checked repeatedly, certain I had overlooked it. Then I dialed Mom. Mom, there's no spot for me at the rehearsal dinner. Oh? She hesitated. Waverly, that event is reserved strictly for the wedding party and closest relatives. The Whitmores enforce tight limits. A chill spread through me. I'm not considered closest? You understand my meaning. Nothing personal. The hosts have many VIPs to seat. Space is extremely limited. I reopened the message, scanned again. Miranda's friend Jessica made the list. She's not related. She's in the bridal party, Waverly. Please don't complicate matters. I wanted to shout. I wanted to demand why a 4-year acquaintance ranked higher than the sister who shared a childhood. But arguing was pointless. Mom had decided years earlier. All right, I whispered. I get it. Perfect. See you at the ceremony. Click. I remained motionless in my apartment afterward, eyes fixed on the envelope resting on my small table. $10,000. 3 years of deliberate sacrifice. And I wasn't welcome at the pre-wedding meal. Still, I clung to hope that the wedding itself would shift everything. Still, I believed that witnessing my generosity toward Miranda would finally make them notice me. How wrong I was. 3 days prior, Aunt Diane rang. Scissors clipping could be heard faintly in the background. She was likely styling bouquets at her shop, her usual habit when deep in thought. Waverly, dear, I learned about the rehearsal dinner exclusion. I exhaled heavily. It's okay, Aunt Diane. Purely practical reasons. It's not practical at all, she replied, her tone unusually firm. It's your mother acting exactly like herself. And I have an important question for you. Are you truly certain you want to attend this wedding? The words surprised me. Of course. She's my sister. She's your sister in name, Aunt Diane conceded. But that doesn't mean she behaves like one. And Patricia. She caught herself. Your mother and I shared the same childhood home, Waverly. I understand precisely what she's capable of doing. What are you implying? She paused briefly. At your mother's own wedding, they placed me at the farthest table, right beside the kitchen area. When introducing me to your dad's relatives, she called me my sister, the one who does flowers. Not by name. Not as true family. Just the one who does flowers. I had no response. Your mother doesn't despise you, Waverly. She simply views you as irrelevant to her current goals. Right now, her goal is winning favor with the Whitmores. You don't align with that vision. So what do I do? That's your call entirely. I heard the scissors being set aside. But hear this, I'll be present at the wedding, and no matter what unfolds, no matter what, you will not face it by yourself. Tears welled up. Thank you so much, Aunt Diane. Real family isn't defined by DNA, darling. It's defined by who actually appears when it counts. Keep that close. I had no idea how vital those words would become just days later. The evening before the wedding, my phone lit up at 11:47 p.m. It was Sophie Roberts. We'd been close since our college days, and coincidentally her event coordination business had landed the contract for Miranda's wedding. She always kept our personal bond separate from business. But tonight her voice trembled. "Wave, I have to share something, and please stay composed." I bolted upright. "What's wrong?" "I was double-checking the final seating arrangement tonight." She hesitated. "2 weeks back, your name appeared at table 3 under bride's family. But now it's been struck through in ink, and a handwritten note sits beside it." My pulse raced. "What does the note read?" "It reads, 'Guest receives limited access badge. No meal provided.'" I struggled to inhale. "Who wrote it?" "I'm not positive, but I know that script, Wave." Her tone lowered. "It matches your mother's handwriting." Everything tilted. No meal. Limited access. The exclusion wasn't limited to the rehearsal. They intended to bar me from the full reception too. "Sophie, are you certain?" I photographed the page. "Sending it over right now." My phone vibrated. I opened the picture and studied the familiar elegant cursive, the identical style that had graced my birthday greetings for more than 3 decades. "Guest receives limited access badge. No meal." My mother hadn't merely overlooked me. She had deliberately arranged it. Deliberately. Carefully. Systematically. She wanted my contribution but not my company. Sleep never came that night. By dawn, though, I had absolute clarity about my next move. I opened my eyes on the morning of June 14th feeling strangely calm and focused. The fear that had gripped me hours earlier had burned away completely. What remained was something sharper. Firmer. Not exactly rage, more like unshakable resolve. I stood before my small closet, the same cramped space I'd relied on for 4 years, and selected my clothing with intention. A deep navy dress purchased at a discount 2 years prior. Understated. Refined. Nothing flashy or attention-grabbing. The sort of outfit chosen when you wish to appear composed and appropriate without standing out. I applied my own makeup. Soft, natural shades. Just a touch of mascara. Nothing dramatic that might streak if tears fell. Then I sat at my kitchen table and collected my proof. The screenshot of Mom's message urging me to transfer the funds ahead of time. The image Sophie had sent showing the crossed-out name and the handwritten instruction. The photograph of my sealed envelope containing the cashier's check. And Sophie's phone number, ready in case anyone accused me of fabrication. I slipped my phone into my small purse next to the envelope itself. Next I dialed Aunt Diane. "I'm still attending," I told her. "I thought you might be. Are you all right?" "I'm not sure. But I have to see it play out." "I have to see it play out. I have to witness them exclude me in person." She stayed silent for a beat. "I'll be there, Waverly. I'll position myself near the gift table. If you need anything, just glance that way." "Thank you." "And Waverly?" "Yes?" "Whatever choice you make today, I'll stand by you, even if it means your mother never speaks to me again." For the first time in a full day I actually smiled. I suspect she already feels that way. Probably. But it's never stopped me before. I ended the call, grabbed my purse, and stepped outside. It was time to confront my family. The Whitmore property resembled a spread from a high-end publication. Classic Georgian style. Tall white pillars. Perfectly sculpted boxwood hedges. The long driveway curved gracefully, paved in pale gravel and bordered by luxury vehicles, BMWs, Mercedes, Range Rovers, each worth far more than I earned in a year. I traveled by train from the city, then taken a cab from the station. The driver let out a low whistle as we approached the entrance gates. Quite the celebration, eh? Something along those lines. I approached the welcome area where 2 uniformed attendants in sharp black vests waited behind a registration station. Crisp white cloth. Crystal vases bursting with fresh blooms. Badges arranged neatly in alphabetical order. The guest ahead of me, a stranger, stated her name and was handed a shining gold badge. She fastened it to her lapel and continued inside without hesitation. "Your name, please?" one attendant asked. Waverly Palmer. He checked his tablet, then bent to retrieve something from beneath the table. When he straightened, he held a plain gray badge. Not gold. Gray. The dull shade of pavement. The hue of something meant to be overlooked. I stared at the text printed in simple black font. Limited access guest. Ma'am, this badge permits entry to the ceremony space only. The reception pavilion requires a gold badge. I met his eyes. I'm the bride's sister. A flicker of something, perhaps pity, crossed his face. I apologize, ma'am. I'm simply following the provided instructions. Before I could reply, fingers closed gently around my elbow. I turned. My mother. She wore a soft blush gown that surely cost double my monthly rent. Diamond necklace sparkling at her collarbone. A practiced smile that never warmed her gaze. Waverly, sweetheart, let's step aside for a quick word. The attendant visibly relaxed. Mom guided me toward a grouping of rose bushes, far enough that no one at the check-in could overhear. Please don't create a disturbance, she said, smile fixed in place. To any observer we might have appeared to be sharing a warm exchange. What exactly does limited access indicate? I asked. My tone remained even. I felt proud of my control. It means... She glanced around quickly, then spoke more quietly. You may watch the ceremony, but there is no seating for you at the reception. The statement landed like freezing rain. No seating? Jonathan's parents have numerous high-profile attendees, Waverly. Business partners. Board directors. Individuals crucial to the Whitmore network. We couldn't reasonably request they surrender places for... She trailed off, but the unspoken ending rang clear. For someone like you. You could have informed me beforehand, I said, before I spent $300 on transportation and this dress. Would you have attended if I had? No. Precisely. She gave my arm a condescending pat, as though I were a confused youngster. Simply remain for the vows, make an appearance, place your gift on the table, and then depart. Miranda will appreciate it. I studied her, truly studied her. The woman who raised me. The one who missed my graduation, erased me from family portraits, gossiped about me in restroom stalls. And now here she stood, elegant in borrowed finery, expecting me to hand over $10,000 to a celebration that barred my presence. You want my money, I said carefully, but not my attendance. Don't exaggerate. Waverly. Something inside me locked into position. Not shattering. Aligning. Understood, Mom. I offered a small smile. I won't cause any trouble. Relief washed across her features. She had no inkling of what lay ahead. I performed the role flawlessly. I nodded as she concluded her reasoning. I allowed her to escort me toward the ceremony garden, rows of pristine white chairs beneath an arch overflowing with ivory roses and silvery eucalyptus. I chose a seat in the final row, off to the side where I would remain unnoticed. My chair differed from the rest. Plain. A simple metal folding seat, while the front sections offered padded, high-backed versions. I settled in and observed my relatives preparing for what they considered the pinnacle of joy. Dad lingered near the front, chatting amiably with Jonathan's father, a distinguished silver-haired gentleman in a suit likely priced at $5,000. Mom moved gracefully among the crowd, laughing lightly, touching forearms, performing her signature charm that convinced every person they were uniquely special. Everyone except me. Miranda appeared from the main residence enveloped in layers of white tulle and delicate Chantilly lace. A Vera Wang creation. She had name-dropped the designer repeatedly. $20,000 of silk, beads, and dreams that transformed her into royalty. She looked breathtaking. I'll concede that much. The service commenced. Promises were spoken. Tears flowed, mostly from Mom, who pressed a monogrammed handkerchief to her cheeks. When Miranda and Jonathan sealed their union with a kiss, roughly 150 guests stood and cheered. I remained seated. After the recessional, the photographer summoned family groups for formal portraits. Both sets of parents. The bridal party. Distant relatives I'd never encountered. Any additional family members? The photographer inquired. Mom shook her head firmly. No, that's everyone. I watched them arrange themselves beneath the rose-covered arch, beaming as the flawless unit they had always aspired to portray. And I thought, not for much longer. The ceremony concluded with cascading white petals and a string quartet performing Mendelssohn. Attendees began drifting toward the glowing reception pavilion, a vast white canopy illuminated from within like an enormous lantern. Through the open sides I glimpsed crystal chandeliers suspended overhead, tables swathed in cream linen, extravagant centerpieces of rare imported blooms that doubtless exceeded my weekly food budget. I stood at the garden's perimeter, watching my relatives vanish into that warm radiance. No one glanced backward. For one fleeting instant I considered simply departing. Clutching my envelope, retracing my steps down the pale gravel drive, and cutting contact forever. It would have been the graceful exit, the restrained choice. But I was finished with restraint. A gentle hand rested on my shoulder. I turned to see Aunt Diane beside me, silver hair swept into a sleek chignon, clad in an understated burgundy gown that somehow carried more dignity than anything Mom wore. How are you managing, darling? I opened my palm to reveal the gray badge still gripped tightly. They've barred me from the reception. I know. Sophie confided in me. Her expression held no shock, only quiet sorrow. What's your plan? I'm retrieving my envelope. Aunt Diane gave a slow nod. The gift table stands near the east entrance. I passed it earlier. She pressed my hand. I'll stay close. You won't stand alone. Thank you. Waverly, she said, locking eyes with me. Whatever unfolds in the next 10 minutes, do not apologize, do not justify, do not grant them the pleasure of watching you crumble. I drew a steady breath. I won't. She stepped aside. I faced the pavilion. The gift table awaited. Halfway to the entrance, a young staff member, perhaps 22, blocked my path politely. Excuse me, ma'am. He offered an apologetic smile. May I check your badge, please? I displayed the gray card. His expression dropped. I'm very sorry, ma'am. This badge does not permit entry to the reception space. Gold badges only. I understand. My voice stayed level. But I'm the bride's sister. I only need to. I'm truly sorry. Instructions are strict. No exceptions allowed. Beyond him the celebration hummed. Servers glided past balancing champagne flutes. Laughter rose and fell. My parents stood near the sweetheart table, basking in congratulations as though they had personally orchestrated a triumph. Then Miranda drifted into view, still radiant in her gown, cheeks glowing from the day's emotions. Our eyes connected across the distance. For one heartbeat, one fragile second, I believed she might pause. Might instruct the attendant to allow me passage. Might recall that I was her sister long before I became an embarrassment. Instead she averted her gaze and continued moving. She didn't even hesitate. The staff members shifted uncomfortably. Ma'am, if you'd prefer to remain outside I can, it's all right. I retreated a step. I'm not attempting to enter. He appeared relieved. I turned and walked toward the east flank of the pavilion, where a long table draped in shimmering white silk supported an impressive array of wrapped packages. No guard posted. No oversight. Only an elegant sign in gold script reading, Blessings for M&J. Somewhere among the lavish boxes rested my envelope. $10,000 my family anticipated receiving, yet never intended to acknowledge me personally for giving. The moment had arrived to reclaim it. I want to pause right here. You've witnessed their actions. The gray badge. The hushed justifications. My own sister gliding past as though I were air. So let me ask you directly. What would you do in my place? Walk away silently? Confront your parents head-on? Or choose a different path altogether? Drop A, B, or C in the comments. I genuinely want to hear your thoughts. And if this story is stirring something inside you, please share it. Someone you know might need to see this today. Now, here's what happened next. Up close, the gift table was even more opulent. Creamy silk pooled onto the lawn. Clusters of white peonies floated in crystal vessels. Presents wrapped in premium paper with perfectly matched satin ribbons, the luxurious kind displayed in upscale boutiques. Several carried recognizable names. Tiffany. Williams-Sonoma. One slender rectangular box that suggested fine jewelry. And there, tucked near the left edge, half concealed beneath a larger gift, sat a plain white envelope bearing my own familiar handwriting. From Waverly Palmer. I had addressed it myself 3 weeks earlier at my small kitchen table, convinced this offering might finally shift how my family perceived me. What a delusion. I scanned the surroundings. Attendants remained occupied at the main entrance. A handful of guests hovered nearby, champagne in hand, engaged in light conversation. But the gift table itself drew no attention. Why would it? Who would possibly take something from a wedding? I'm not taking, I reminded myself. I'm reclaiming what belongs to me. Aunt Diane stood at the corner of my vision, positioned beside a rose-covered trellis. She offered the smallest nod. You're not taking. You're correcting an injustice. I moved forward casually, as though admiring the display. My fingers closed around the envelope, my envelope, and lifted it free without haste. No one noticed. No one called out. I slipped it into my purse beside my phone, turned, and walked away from the pavilion, past the rose bushes, past the white gravel drive, past the glittering entrance where gold-badged guests continued arriving. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I simply left. Halfway down the drive, Aunt Diane caught up, falling into step beside me without a word. We reached the gate together. A cab waited at the curb. I'd arranged it earlier via app. We climbed in. As the estate shrank in the rear window, Aunt Diane finally spoke. You did it. I did. And the money? Coming home with me. She reached over and squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you, Waverly. For the first time in years, the weight inside my chest felt lighter. Not gone, but lighter. 3 weeks later, I deposited the $10,000 back into my own savings account. I labeled it New Beginning Fund. I haven't spoken to my mother or Miranda since that day. They didn't call to ask why the envelope never appeared. They didn't call at all. Sometimes I still catch myself wondering if they noticed the absence. If Miranda ever asked where her sister's gift went. But mostly I don't wonder anymore. Because I finally understand what Aunt Diane meant all those years ago. Family isn't the people who share your blood. Family is the ones who show up when it matters, and the ones who refuse to let you disappear. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Tell me A, B, or C, what would you have done? And drop your city and the current time there too. I read every comment. Thank you for being here with me.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a twist. Stay tuned to Reddit Tales Times for your daily dose of drama, laughs, and unbelievable stories.